The FBI, again, giving key details about the suspect's backpack, which they confirm is a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack. The backpack is sold at Walmart or through the retailer's website. So how could authorities trace the purchase with those two facts? Let's bring in cybersecurity expert and former FBI counterintelligence operative Eric O'Neill. Eric, I gave you those facts. What would you do with them now?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. Well, once you have the backpack, what the FBI can do and what law enforcement can do is go to the manufacturer and determine where all those backpacks are sold in the area, then go to each of those stores or outlets, and I think the biggest is a Walmart that's very close to that home, and pull the transaction data from the point of sale. So if someone went and bought that backpack with a credit card, that is a great transaction record. Now you know their name and their address, and then you can cross-reference that to when I was on yesterday morning, we were talking about how the FBI uses their next generation identification. They have height and weight. They can combine that with driver's licenses, and they can look at the individual who bought the backpack and see, okay, that guy's 6'5", that's not who we're looking for. That's a woman who's 5'2", that's not who we're looking for, and zero in just on individuals that fit the profile. And then we have new persons of interest. It's a little bit like sifting for a needle in a barn of haystacks, but at least it gives the law enforcement and FBI somewhere to focus their efforts.
Well, how about the fact that it's more of a hiking backpack? So it's not something a kid might use for school or somebody might use to travel. It's more for hikers. Does that help you?
That's a good point, Brian, because anything that can narrow down the sheer number of people who bought that backpack that could be that target is important. And look, if it was a JanSport school backpack like my kids are buying, there's probably far more of them out there. So the hope is that it's a bit more of a narrow search, but it is still going to be a lot of work. And the FBI and law enforcement is used to doing this good old-fashioned sleuthing.
All right, so just we have the description. It sounds like a description of most males. 5'9", 5'10", average build, wearing a black 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack. But keep in mind, we did see him without the pack, too, in the same video. It's the same Nest video. I give you that. What I was wondering, I kind of indicated that they could take that mask off through facial recognition and give you an idea of what this person looks like. If that is indeed the case, why haven't we seen that already?
So what they can do is they can get an idea, because of that mask, they can get an idea of the shape of the face, the eyes, the mouth, the depth of the face, and they can create a composite. But the composite isn't going to be something they want to release to the public because it's just not going to look exactly like a person, and it's not going to give a great match. What they can do is then use that composite when they have persons of interest to say, okay, this is somebody that looks at least somewhat like the person we're going for. And I'll bet that is one of the reasons they zeroed in on that delivery driver that had his house raided by the FBI's hostage rescue team, HRT, yesterday. So there might be more of that as they continue to zero in and use use technology to try to find the target. And just to pick up on what we were talking about earlier, they're very specific about the home camera information they're looking for. They're saying January 11th between 9 p.m. and midnight, and then January 31st between 9:30 and 11. Now, they want everything, but that's really where they're focusing. And they're flagging a suspicious vehicle that they know was in the area around 10 a.m. on January 31st. That's very detailed. So they're asking people to go through the history of their Ring and Nest and other home security cameras. And then the way that they do it is they submit it to the Pima County Sheriff's website. That all gets pulled in, all of that video that people are going to be submitted. And then they use AI to organize and find actionable intelligence from that video. And what I'm betting is they're looking for a sliver of a car, or maybe a fraction of a license plate, or maybe even one of these individuals who had to have been casing that neighborhood before the crime. Because, I've seen reporters, including your own, who are driving through the neighborhood. It is a warren, it is a maze. And if you are a savvy criminal, you're not bringing your cell phone, you're not using GPS. So you need to plan your route before the crime, before the abduction, so that you know how to get out. You get your infill and exfil plan together. If they had their phones, this would be a lot more easier case.
And just keep in mind, just building on what you just said, he had his phone on him. So we don't know if it was on, if it still picks up, or if it still pings. We don't know whether it's on.
Yeah, depending on the model, the phone continues to connect, is what a lot of people forget, even if you turn it off. But then they're relying on when it pings a cell tower, where
Yeah.
those cell towers are, and it's not like the movies where they zero in precisely where you are. It's like within 100 feet, within 100 meters. So it depends on whether it's even pinging at all, whether they could pick it up. And
Right.
I'm guarantee he had that phone off.
Eric O'Neill, great information, great insight. Thanks for putting it all.